class. Today I'm going to read Early Presidents Unit Chapter 2, the first year. Our big question today: what steps did the first Congress take to help establish a more organized system of government? Setting precedents. A precedent is an example for future actions or decisions. With the election of a Congress and a president, the new government was ready to start. Washington and Congress wanted to proceed carefully because, as Washington said, "I walk on untrodden ground." He meant that no one had ever done anything like this before. Almost every action they took might set a precedent or an example for future actions or decisions. That is, every action they took might set a pattern that would be followed in the future. Washington wanted to set the right precedents by closely following the Constitution and carrying out his duties as president and protecting the liberties of the people. For example, members of Congress tied themselves into knots over the proper way to address the president. Vice President John Adams suggested that the president be called His Highness, the President of the United States of America, and protector of their liberties. Others said that sounded too much like the way a king is addressed. Some thought His Excellency was the right way. In the end, it was agreed to address Washington simply as Mr. President. Today, the matter seems more amusing than important, but in 1789, it was taken very seriously. Here is the picture of George Washington, or the first Mr. President. Other precedences were more important. For example, the Constitution set up 3 branches of government: the legislative, the judicial, and executive branches. The Constitution also said there will be departments in the executive branch of government to help the president. It does not say, though, what those departments will be. It also does not say how many of them there will be. It was up to the Congress to fill that empty space in the Constitution. Congress decided to create 3 executive departments. There was one was the Department of State. That department was supposed to help the president in his dealings with foreign countries. Another department was the Department of War. That department was in charge of defending the country. The third department was the Department of Treasury. That one was expected to collect taxes, pay bills, and take care of the government's money. The head of this department was called a secretary. Creating these departments led to another precedent. The Constitution says that the president may seek advice from his department heads. At first, Washington just talked to each secretary separately about the work his department was doing. After a while, though, President Washington felt he needed advice on many other matters. He began having all the secretaries meet with him at the same time to get their advice. The department heads came to be called the President's Cabinet, which means a group of advisors. The first cabinet also included an attorney general who gave the president legal advice and a postmaster general who ran the post office. The meetings came to be known as cabinet meetings. The Constitution does not say anything about a cabinet. Every president since Washington, though, has had one. Over the years, Congress has added departments to the executive branch, and the president's cabinet has grown. Another of these empty spaces in the Constitution had to do with the courts. The Constitution says that there will be a Supreme Court. It does not say how many judges should serve on it. It says that Congress can establish courts below the Supreme Court. It does not say what those courts should do or how many there should be. All of that was up to Congress. Therefore, in that first year under the new government, Congress passed a law filling in details about courts and judges. It said that the Supreme Court should have 6 judges. Congress changed that number several times over the years. Sometimes it was 7, then 8, then 9, then 10, then 8 again, and 9 again. It has been 9 for more than 130 years, so it'll probably stay that way. But that is not to say that it cannot be changed again. It is possible, as the court is not constitutionally bound to 9 members. The Supreme Court, of course, is the top court in the country. Congress, however, also created enough other courts so that people in every part of the country could use the court system. A United States tax. During that first year, Congress passed another important law regarding the government. In the old days, the central government did not have any money. The government also owed about $79 million, including debt from the Revolutionary War. That was because the government did not have the power to tax. The new Constitution changed that. In 1789, Congress placed a tax on more than 80 imported products. That is, products that are brought into the United States from other countries. That's what imported means. They're products from all over the world that are brought into the United States. It was not much of a tax, but it was enough. For the first time, the central government could start paying its bills. The greatest success of the first Congress, however, was the passing of a Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution, which lists specific rights that must be protected. James Madison, I told you we would talk about him some more. He was the fighter for the Bill of Rights. He was also the author of the first 10 amendments. He urged his fellow representatives to pass the Bill of Rights. They agreed. The basic liberties of the people became the law of the land when the states ratified the Bill of Rights.